writing a script is like walking into a gym and trying to become a weightlifter on the first day. It just doesn't happen. I used to have to go and sit on a mountaintop and just be somewhere else other than, you know, sitting in a chair thinking about what I was going to write. And a lot of times I wanted to write and it just did not happen because I wasn't in the right environment. But like weightlifting, once you do it enough, it just becomes, you know, second nature, and you just start doing it. And I was writing before, you know, while I was waiting to connect with you guys here for a few minutes. It just becomes, you know, second nature, as I said. But a lot of the films that I've written, I've shot. So if I'm going to sit down and write a script, I have to say to myself, okay, if I write this, can I do this? Obviously, I can't have somebody hanging over the Golden Gate Bridge, because that's just not going to happen. On Whiskey Slide, scene in the small town with the bank and everything, I actually went there ahead of time, going back to your question, Wendy, and I just walked around there. I had the scene and I knew what we were going to do, but I would go and I would just put myself at that location, and I would say, okay, if these guys ran out these doors with guns blazing and they just robbed the bank, you know, where's the sheriff? Is there a second sheriff? Where is he? You know, what's happening? Do I have enough in my script? Do I need to note it now? Am I going to forget about it? Is it important to the script? And so should I make a note of that now? And so for me, there are times when I try to get to the location as often as I can, just for the revisions on the script in case there's something that, you know, I need to note that's important, where prior to that, I may have written a scene, and since I wasn't there, you know, I couldn't address that unless I was at that location. And that comes with filmmaking too, where, you know, you can write and rewrite and write and rewrite all you want, but until you get to that location, you don't know what you're going to do. And a lot of times we readjust a scene based on the location and the way things look. And so there's a lot of improvisation on the filmmaking, in addition to, you know, the acting of, you know, with improvisation.
Oh yeah, definitely. I noticed on your director's reel, one of the scenes from Whiskey Slide, where you guys were in the middle of a set change from one side of the room to the other, literally, and you were discussing with your cameraman at the time just the tightness of a certain shot, and then I noticed immediately a light went off in your head. You're like, oh wait, we can do it this way, you know, and it's like, you shifted the whole entire feel of what scene you were working with at that moment. It's like you had a revelation at that point, like, this is going to add to it, and I know that I'm going to use this. And one of the things I remember you saying to one of the actresses in there was that you're going to spend time filming things that you know you're going to use, and you're not going to, if you know ahead of time you're not going to use it, you're not going to shoot it. And I found that to be very impressive, because you were thinking ahead. You were way ahead of what was being done at that moment.
Yeah, that's so important, just to be able to, you know, finish. And what I mean by that is that there's so many movies out there that are made, and people spend months on pre-production and they never launch their movie. It never even goes anywhere. And one of the most important, I have young filmmakers call me and they say, hey, you know, I need this, I need that, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And we've got this great DP with a red camera, and this is a great package, and I'm all set to go. And my first question to them is, do you have a production manager? And more often than not, they say, no, I don't need a production manager, I'm going to take care of that. And I say, well, are you directing? And they say, yes. And I go, if I please get a production manager, you need somebody who's going to think about the movie so that you can concentrate on everything creatively. And people just don't realize how important a production manager / first AD is in order to get your project finished.
Yeah, you need all hands on deck when you're doing a film, all of them. Nobody can be sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, it's when I worked on the Donahue films, it was those films that I worked as a production manager. So we had 25 days to shoot a movie. It was a full-length script. We had to break down the script. And, you know, the DP was coming up from LA, and so, there, you know, we had to shoot everything when he was here. There was no second chances. There was no going back. And so you had 25 days to make a movie, you know, within, you know, six days out of the 7 days. And you had to make it happen. And it was the production management that made everything work, because if you get on set and you're not ready to go, and you're waiting 2 hours for somebody to set up a light that shouldn't even be there anyway, you're in trouble.
Right, exactly. That's the most important part of it, I think, is just that whole the pre-production end of the whole business. A lot of people, don't realize that, even in script writing itself, it's completely relevant. It's elemental, because if you're not thinking ahead, you're not even going to get it read at most points. One of the things that I do when I try to, focus on the type of story that I'm writing is I like to make sure that what I write is in as practical a set location as I possibly can put it. Because when you're looking at people, and you're trying to say, well, I want you to buy my film, or I want you to make my film, the last thing they're going to want to see is dollar signs popping around in their head. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want the story to suffer in their eyes, because all they're seeing is, how the hell am I going to afford a spaceship? Just it's practicality. It comes down to, can you use this set in multiple scenes and things like that.
Right.